Yo, what's up? This is Righteous Emcee, and you're listening to the Vanguard.
Righteous MC, thank you so much for being here today.
Absolutely. Thank you for
Um,
having me.
yeah. Yeah, like some travel troubles, we made it
Yeah.
here and we're feeling good and we got
Yeah.
through the songs
We here.
and I couldn't be more excited to talk to you, sit down with you about these songs you performed and just kind of Righteous MC in general. So
Thank you. Yeah.
we heard Fear of Clowns and House for Sale
hmm
along with March 20th, but those two songs that I mentioned are coming off of A Time Revisited.
Yeah.
Tell me about why you chose those songs off of that album today.
Yeah. Well, I chose those songs because, they're obviously like really like heartfelt, songs. That album in a whole was, presented as like a personal album. You know what I'm saying? Something that, I hadn't really done before.
Right.
I've always been in the space of trying to create great music, but I never really dived into who I was as a person
Yeah.
in my music. So that album was me, trying to do that, trying to give people a idea about who I was and, my journey in my life. And those songs, Fear of Clowns and House for Sale, are just examples of, some of the things that I've gone through in my past, how I dealt with, not having a father in my life, in a creative way. I did it
Yeah.
on Fear of Clowns, but it's still nonetheless like a real story, a real sentiment, And then House for Sale, it kind of comes at you straightforward, It's
Right,
like
right. Not
dealing
beating
with
around the
family
bush.
issues
Yeah.
and, everything that comes with that. So yeah.
How did you get to that point in your music career to make an album like A Time Revisited? Because, like you said, very vulnerable project, whether it's talking about family, loved ones, just kind of your upbringing in general. What got you to that point to be like, this is something I need to make?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I just hadn't done it before.
Okay.
A lot of my music it comes from a more like creative side. Like, how can I just make the best sounding music, right? And I never really thought about presenting an album that was like super raw and showing like who I was, kind of like taking the mask off, so to speak.
Right.
A lot of times as artists, we hide behind our mystique of who we are. I hide behind the Righteous MC, right? But this was really like me coming out and saying like, this is who I am, behind that. And this is exactly like the actual first title of the album was gonna be my first name. It was
Okay.
gonna be Darius, but I just kind of felt it was too plain, so I went with A Time Revisited. But yeah, it was just kind of pulling back the curtain and saying like, this is who I am in my real life.
Was it hard to do it,
Oh,
or did it feel cathartic in a way like this is something I've been needing to release, or were there roadblocks along the way?
there were a lot of roadblocks creating this album. Like, there were times when I would record a song and just, I had to take a few weeks off from recording because like some of the songs are so heartfelt and so personal
Yeah.
and so deep that it's like it takes a lot out of you to be able to put that on paper and record that and hear yourself say those words. It's a lot. So definitely like throughout the process of recording that album, it was like, yo, this is a lot. I gotta take a break, man, and come back to it. But it was like therapy. It was a
Yeah.
release of some of the things that I've gone through. Never really talked about some of those subjects on the album. So yeah, it was definitely something that I needed to do, and it felt good. It felt good.
And is that something where it's I've made this cohesive project that really tells the story of me, of Darius? Is that kind of like a one and done, and then you get back to kind of the music you were making before? Do you keep that idea going forward in new albums,
Oh
new
yeah, for sure.
projects?
Yeah, definitely. Like it's an ongoing thing. And not to say that the music that I did before wasn't about me. It was
Right.
about me, but I kind of approached it from more of a creative side, right? This album, it was like a lot of this music was straightforward, straight raw, like just
Yeah.
telling you exactly what it is. So, with that, I'm definitely gonna keep doing that. And I still do that in my music,
Hmm.
but I'm gonna focus on just kind of being more creative and really trying to like just make the best music that
Yeah.
I could possibly make and make people really feel it. But like I said, with Time Revisited, I mean, I had experiences with people would message me like on Instagram and be like, yo, I heard this song made me call my brother who I hadn't
Wow.
talked to in years, or
Yeah.
this song got me through drug addiction. I've been sober for this long. So like those kinds of albums and that kind of music is needed, right?
Right.
It's needed to be able to get people through things, you know what I'm saying? Really make an impact on people. So it's important to always kind of like return to that and keep that going.
And what did
Yeah.
that mean to you? How much did that mean to you that people did that?
Man, it meant everything.
Yeah.
It meant everything. Like, you know, as artists, we get kind of trapped in this whole thing about, you know, chasing numbers and, you know, we want the fans and we want the listeners and the views and all that stuff like that. And that's fine, right? That's great. But when you're able to impact somebody's life in a way that you didn't think that you would, right? It means that much more, right? Even if only a few people hear it, if somebody says, yo, this song or this album changed my life, that's something big. So this album really like made me realize like the value of the music that I'm putting out. It's not just like made just so people can, you know, put in their car and drive around and ride to, but it's definitely like something that can really change someone's life and impact them in a way that, you know, it has all the benefits, you know. So yeah, it's super important to do that.
Mm-hmm. Did that kind of light the fire under you? Like a year removed from it being out, what's your headspace currently within making music?
I'm still like, I still have this fire in me, you know. Like sometimes with putting out an album like that, you know, it kind of does set you back in a way of like, where do I go from this point on?
Yeah.
You know, where do I go from here? But, you know, like I said, I'm always trying to create. I'm always writing. I'm always coming up with stuff. So, you know, I'm pushing forward. I'm trying to constantly push, you know, the envelope in regards to making music. So, you know, what you get from me next, it might not be exactly a Time Revisited. It might be something totally different, like just on, you know, left field, but it's gonna be value for real.
And so, just speaking of pushing the envelope, what gets you to even do that? Because sometimes, if you're within your own bubble, you might have a hard time breaking through. Is it outside influences coming into the mix? What gets you to push that envelope and be like, okay, this is what could happen next?
Yeah, I mean, I'm just, you know, I consider myself like a hip hop historian, you know, so, you know, I go back and I listen to the greats, you know, and I watch them and I study them and you know, so I pay attention to the things that they did. And one thing that was always like in the back of my mind when creating music is that, you know, I don't want to be stagnant, right? I don't want to just continue making the same thing over and over. And a lot of times you can get in that space where you're just creating the same thing. It's always been like a part of my makeup to be like, yo, I want to create something that is different, or I want to make something that I don't hear, or I want to make something that, you know, is doesn't necessarily, like, you don't think it's gonna come from me. So, you know, I've been getting into a lot of different forms, a lot of different genres of music, you know, jazz, folk music, all this different stuff, and trying to incorporate that into what I do. So like definitely like pushing the envelope, pushing forward, like doing something new and refreshing that, you know, not everybody's doing. So yeah, that's really where I'm headed right now.
Yeah, and I see you doing that even outside of, still within music, but outside of your solo music career with stuff like the spoken word open mics you have and
absolutely.
the Gladiator School.
Mm-hmm.
So tell me about like pushing the envelope in that way and why that was so
Yeah.
important for you.
Like again, you know, you start to see like the impact that, you know, what you do has on other people. You know, doing the spoken word open mics is like, that's such a beautiful thing, man. Like to see so many people come out, and a lot of times these people who are coming to, you know, this event, they've never done this before, right? This is their first time ever, and they're stepping up to the mic and they're telling us that like, I've never done this and this is my first time. And you're like, okay. And then you hear their poetry or their art or whatever, and it's amazing. And they're so happy that they received that love and that genuine, like, just like value of what they put out, that it builds like almost like this family.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like a lot of people hold that dear, and I hold it dear, that people would want to come out and express themselves and talk about things that, you know, are you know, deep for them in that space. So it's a beautiful thing, and I've made like a lot of friends doing that, people that I consider family at this point, because, you know, we've shared that space together, and it's a beautiful thing. And, you know, as far as Gladiator School, this is an event for all the MCs, man, for all the rappers out there who like putting words together, who like performing, this is for y'all. And it's dope being able to like work with so many different MCs out there to come, to Gladiator School and do their thing. Like, I love it, man. I love giving people a space and a platform to grow their brand, and to grow, their music, and it's a beautiful thing. I love seeing it, man, and I'm gonna continue doing it for sure.
Absolutely, and it's so needed. And from your perspective, was it something you felt was missing? Was there a hole, or what was it? Because you're talking about like how people get on stage and release, and it's this really cathartic thing, and it really brings people together. Did
Mm-hmm.
you see that somewhere, or was it the absence of that you were wanting to bring into the picture?
I felt like, well, I feel like there's a lot of spaces that are made for that,
Mm-hmm.
but not as much as it should be.
Okay.
Right? So my idea was like, this is just another opportunity for people to have that, right?
Yeah.
This is another space for that. We live in Minnesota, man. Like, to keep it real, our culture here is like is very like low. You know what I'm saying? Hip hop culture, this kind of stuff, it really only exists in the Twin Cities, in Minneapolis and St. Paul. Outside of that, it's not really out there. It's not really relevant. So a lot of the opportunities that people might have to perform or just express themselves with their art, it's very low. So just somebody coming along and presenting that, it gives people another opportunity to be able to do that. So that's kind of how I felt in creating those platforms. Like, this is just another thing for people to be able to grow and come and have a safe and great space to express themselves in.
Yeah, and it seems so natural for you to step in a role of Righteous MC, a rapper. Was it the same with being a host? Because with these things, you have to
Yeah.
be, you have to have a host that brings that welcoming environment
Yeah.
and kind of brings the event together.
Man, look, let me tell you, I never hosted an event in my
Yeah.
life. So when we started the poetry, the spoken word event, like, it was my first time ever hosting an event, and I was nervous. And I'm like, how am I gonna do this? Like,
Yeah.
how am I gonna engage with this audience? How I'm gonna keep everybody like into what's
Right.
going
There feels
on?
like there's some weight on your shoulders.
It does.
Yeah.
And as soon as it was time to start, I don't know what it was, but it was just like something just kicked in, and I just kind of went into overdrive. And it was people literally leaving the event like, "Oh, you're a good host. I like him. He's funny. He's energetic." And they're
Yeah.
saying all this stuff, and I'm
Yeah.
like, "What?"
Yeah.
Like, I'm just being me.
Okay.
And that's the thing, right? Just being yourself. You know what I'm saying? Like, getting up there, just having fun. There's always going to be that pressure, but like, just engaging with the audience, like, just enjoying yourself.
Mm-hmm.
That's the only way that I could say I really got through it. It's just
Yeah.
enjoying myself. And now it's like, people be calling me like, "Hey, bro, you want to host this event for me?" For sure. I got you. It's just like a thing now. So I enjoy it, man. I love it. I love it.
So enjoying yourself, being yourself. Are there any other kind of underrated components to being a host, or things that people might not consider if they're about to host an event that like could completely blindside them?
Man, being an artist, right? And being like a curator and a host of events, I'm able to see both sides, right? I know what it's like to be an artist, and I know what it's like to kind of try to organize an event, right? And a lot of times, as artists, we tend to, I don't want to put us out there like that, but sometimes we make it difficult for those,
Okay.
So being on the other side, I've seen it, I felt it.
Yeah.
I'm like, yo, man, you supposed to send your music in like yesterday. What's
Yeah.
going on?
Punctuality becomes probably more of a thing.
Right. It becomes
Yeah.
that thing. So there's a lot more like scrambling and trying to figure out things. And it's, it's a fun like obstacle, right? It's like, there's these things I got to overcome to make sure that this event goes well, but it's not bad. It's not negative. It's just like, it's fun. It's energetic. It's like, I got to get this done. You know what I'm saying? So, I see both sides of it, and I love being on both sides, right? Like, nothing is like, oh, I'm more like, I love this more than this thing, right? I love doing both of them equally. So yeah, I'm gonna continue doing those
Yeah.
for sure.
And there's so much love, I think, for probably all the spoken word open mics and all of the Gladiator School volumes, and I think you've kind of cited that first one was really special just because it was the first time it ever happened.
Yeah,
What are kind of like the highlights of hosting those events that really stick out to you in moments that you'll never forget?
man. I think one of the things that really like makes me like really happy about doing these events and those moments that stick out is when people, come to the event who, you know, they probably are there just to watch, right? It's just to hang out, just to watch. But you can feel the energy in the building, and it's so I don't even know what word to use. It's just like the energy is just kind of like everybody gets it. Everybody feels it.
Yeah.
And those people who come just to hang out and watch, I guarantee you they end up being involved in it.
Mm-hmm.
Spoken word, gladiator school, all these different events, like because gladiator school, like, and this is for everybody listening. Yo, if you come to gladiator school, we have a segment where everybody
Yeah.
can grab the mic and
Yep.
do their thing. So I've seen people who came who just they're chilling and they're
Yeah.
like, yo, this is fun. This looks fun. Let me grab the mic and just
Yeah.
have fun. Like there's no expectations.
Mm-hmm.
Like we're not saying that you got to be a 10, 15-year MC
Right.
to come to gladiator school. Like, nah, there's people that have showed up, and because it just seems like a good time and it's fun and the energy is up, people just grab the mic and have fun. Even at the spoken word event,
Mm-hmm.
like there are people who are like, can I sign up? You know what I'm saying? I'm like, you want to sign up? And they're like, nah. I'm like, you want to sign up?
Yeah.
Come on, sign up.
Yeah.
And they sign up and they get up there and they do amazing.
Yep.
So it's like I love seeing like how people can connect with that event or those events, and even if you're not slated to be on it,
Yeah.
you can still come and be involved, and it makes it makes it more, it makes it more of a good time than just like a very structured type event.
Yeah, and I feel like that has to be a huge testament to your character and your hosting skills and your curation skills. So I definitely wanted to
Thank you, man. Appreciate
say
it.
that because, like, for someone to not be slated, but then to eventually feel comfortable enough in that space to do that, I think
Yeah.
that's a really powerful thing, and
For
I think
sure.
that's really amazing. And I think that comes with like a lot of support that you always give artists, and I just think that's an amazing thing. And it was really incredible too to see, even on A Time Revisited, you literally had "Thank You for Your Support" as a song on there where you're just shouting out
Yeah.
all your favorite collaborators and artists within kind of this realm.
Yeah.
What was the inspiration behind doing that?
Man, me and my homie was actually talking about that. He's like, man, like I like how you go, you have like these interviews and stuff like that, and you always big up other people.
Mm-hmm.
And that's always kind of been my thing. Like, I know what I'm capable of. I know who I am as an artist. But I always like to see other people shine and other people get that spotlight. So, in doing stuff like that, like on the Time Revisited, shouting out all of these different artists, it's like it's never been about me, right? Like that's always been kind of like my goal. My goal is to like build myself up and garner respect from all of these other artists so that I can be in a position to help them, like that's like my main goal in this thing. So if any opportunity that I have, if I have a platform, if I have a space where, we can utilize this and help grow these artists, their platform or their brands or whatever, yo, come on, let's go. Let's do it. What do you need from me? You need me to, what's up? You need a flyer for your event, what you need? Like, I got you.
Mm-hmm.
And that's always been like my mindset. It's like one person, yeah, is great, right? A lot of times people try to be that one person, right? I'm the best. I'm that one person. That's great. But having more people come in really shows the unity, and it shows that it's a good thing happening, where you are. So yeah, and we're doing that right now. I'm working with so many different other artists that I respect that are amazing, probably better than me. You know what I'm saying? But it's not just about me, it's about everybody.
Yeah, and kind of going from there and even going back to Gladiator School, it feels like, it's that competition kind of just eradicates itself and it becomes this pushing each other up.
Mm-hmm.
And that's so amazing to see, and I think we always need more of that.
Yeah.
Where do you see, or where do you want things to head kind of for the Twin Cities, I guess you'd say, music community in general in the next couple of years, and what foot do you want to have in that?
Yeah, I mean, like you mentioned Gladiator School, even though it's like a situation where we're building each other up, it's still competitive, right? It's
Hmm.
still like still have
Pushing
that
each other,
energy,
yeah.
right? Pushing each other to be better. But in regards to these kind of events, especially Gladiator School, like I really want to like build it up to be like a substantial, platform, right? How people, in the hip hop, world, they look at like Hot 97 when a rapper goes up there and he's
Yeah,
freestyling, or,
gotcha.
LA Leakers or something like that. When they go up there and they're doing their thing, I want people to look at Gladiator School like that, right? I want people to look at the Twin Cities like that, right? Like they have a substantial platform with substantial artists that are dope, and I want people to see that it's not just this one-sided thing. And it's at times it could be like that, right? We kind of see certain artists make it, and a lot of people think, well, that's just how it is, right? That's just all there is there, but it's not, right? It's so much more than that. All it needs is the right person to see it, and if I can be a catalyst to get people to see it, right, just to be able to see it, like I'm doing my job, right? With the spoken word open mic, like if I can get people to just see these artists, right? See these artists in their rawest, form, excuse me, just doing their thing. And if that can open up doors for them to be able to do other things, that's what matters to me. So yeah, I'm just, I just want to be a catalyst and an example of what that is, and give everybody else an opportunity to grow.
That growth, whether it's your latest album, whether it's through these community events, has kind of been this journey, and it's been really amazing to see or I guess throughout your whole career. And so, what would you say to the kid going under the Doc moniker, in seventh, eighth grade? What advice would you give to him back then, as you're going along this journey?
Did your research, man? Nah, man, I would tell him, I would tell Doc, that name sucked, by the way. I would
I
tell
liked
him,
it though.
man, yo, just, that's a good question.
Were there things he was maybe ill prepared for that he had to maybe learn the hard way throughout this kind of whole process of making music and spreading
Yeah.
community?
I hate to get deep on you, but I would definitely say, man, just love yourself, man.
Yeah.
Like, have confidence in who you are. You know, for a long time, I didn't have confidence, and I wasn't myself. I pretended to be, what I thought people wanted me to be, and I went down a lot of pathways to get to this point. But realizing now, if I just was myself
Hmm.
and I just, showed people that side of me and who I really was, things probably would have been a lot easier. So yeah, definitely I would tell him, man, just have some confidence, be yourself, don't let anybody like try to, persuade you to be anything other than who you are. Love yourself, man, grow, learn, study, you know what I'm saying? You know, be nice to your mother, be a little nicer to your mother, and just be the person that you are, man, and embrace that, embrace who you are.
Was there a moment where you feel like you finally got to that point?
Yeah, I actually, man, I put out my first album in 2012,
Okay.
right? That was like the first attempt at creating an album. I don't think my coming out like party um it didn't happen until like 2019, right? That's a large gap,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
um I think I went through a lot of different things that kind of kept me away from pursuing the things that I wanted to pursue. Whether that be family issues, whether that was, just my own insecurities, a lot of different things. It wasn't until like 2019 where I realized, like, I'm just gonna do it, right? I'm gonna take this thing from, me recording in my bedroom and throwing songs on the internet. I'm gonna start going out and I'm gonna start meeting people, and I'm gonna start, going to these shows and open mics and just, putting my hand in all these different things. And I think from there, I just started to bloom, you know what I'm saying, like a flower, man. It was like it just started to happen naturally. Things were clicking. And I realized, like, now in hindsight, that, yo, if I just was myself and I just was confident in who I was and just went out there, a lot of this stuff would have happened back then.
Hmm.
But, everybody's journey is everybody's journey,
Right. Right.
and where you are in that journey, that's all on you. But I'm happy that I, made that decision because it's actually benefited me in a lot of ways because a lot of times people they look at me like I'm a new artist, right? They like, oh, he's
Yeah,
a
yeah,
new
yeah.
artist. Bro, I've been doing this a
But you've
long
had the
time,
time to research and kind
right?
of sit down and
And then when they see the product, right?
yeah,
Like, why is this so dope? Like,
yeah,
why is this so
yeah.
good? Because I've been doing this for quite some time.
Right,
You just didn't know about it.
right.
So
Yeah.
yeah, man, like definitely like, happy about that journey, what I'm saying, in hindsight. And, I can't wait to see where else this goes.
Well, likewise,
Yeah.
100% happy that
Thank you.
you're finally able to get to that point. And I think with that also comes, so I think the fear of putting yourself out there, but then also the fear of performing as well. Was there a fear of performing, or was that
Yeah.
exciting once you got to that point in
Nah,
2019?
that was a legit fear. Legit fear, like almost like a phobia of standing in front of people with a microphone in my hand and having to perform these songs. Like, it was very scary. But I think one thing that really got me through it was just, I always try to like one up, other people, right? In that way of like, okay, you think he's great? I know I'm great. I
Yeah.
know I'm better than him.
The battle rap.
Right,
thing.
right. Is
Yeah.
have that energy. So that kind of pushed me through a lot of those early performances. Like, I want people to like, my whole thing is like, I just do this for the respect, right? I love it. It's a part of me, and I just want the respect from my peers to say, yo, he's dope. You know what I'm saying? So that's what really kind of pushed me through a lot of those early moments of like performing and being in front of people. It's like, yo, I want people to think like, yo, this guy has it. So it was hard at first,
Yeah.
but after a while, it just became like, just like the thing, you know what I'm saying? Just became a regular thing. Like, I'm just clocking in, clocking out, and just, showing up, doing my thing and leaving. Like, that's what it really became. And now it's just, I'm actually now starting to have fun with my
There you go.
performances.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm starting to enjoy being on stage and like interacting with the crowd. And, I might stop in the middle of a song and just start talking to somebody. That's how comfortable I am now. And it's fun. Like, that's why I tell like people, like, just enjoy yourself, man. Like, all of the worries and the stresses and all the things that are in your head that are telling you that this is bad and this ain't good, and just block all of that stuff and just have fun, and you'll see like how great those experiences can be.
And I think times where that has happened have to be recent occasions, whether it was the Ace P show or the Juice Lord show.
Yeah, for sure.
Tell me about those and being up there with people you
Yeah.
collaborated with, you really care about. What was that like?
Man, shout out to Ace P, man, for his album, Things I Can't Speak About. Being able to work on that album with a bunch of other MCs who I highly respect in
Right.
this thing. You know what I'm saying? It was an amazing experience, man. Like, from top to bottom, like recording for the album, preparing for it. You know what I'm saying? The show, it was all dope. Just at 7th Street, which is a legendary spot, man. It was such a dope experience, man. Like, and usually, when you think about working with so many different artists in that kind of space, it can become almost like a little daunting, you know what I'm saying? Because everybody's different. Everybody has their own thoughts. Everybody has their own, ways of doing things. But we all came together for that album, and like, that's like part of my family now. You know what I'm saying? Those are my guys, man. And it was such a dope experience, bro. Like, I can't really even put it in words on how amazing that felt to be able to do that. And, being on that stage, performing those songs that I was a part of, you know what I'm saying? Shout out to Juice Lord, shout out to Nucky. We had a track on there, and I got a track myself. It was like, yo, man, this is crazy. Like, the dopest experience that I had at the HP show was, when I walked on stage, I'm looking at the crowd, and I see this guy, and he's just like, yo, Righteous, you're the best, and you're the greatest, and I was like, I never met this dude in my life.
Wow.
Like, what? Like, that's amazing, man. So I just enjoyed that, man. And right now we're continuing on with that, trying to keep that, momentum and keep that energy up, man. But as far as the Juice Lord show, that was just like an addition to that feeling. It was just dope, man. Yeah. And I performed with Basement Gang. Shout out to Basement Gang, Junior Kid, Say Cool, Cray Shine, Quasi. We all performed together. I got a couple songs with my guys, man. And we had some some technical difficulties that show,
Yeah, yeah.
and it wasn't working. And as soon as it got kicked in, we seen how the crowd just went up, man. I had a crazy moment when my bro Say Cool in that show. So yeah, it was live, man. I love both of those events, and shout out to Juice Lord for having that event. It was amazing.
And it's really kind of cool to see both sides of the coin, whether it's like the years in preparation that I think are necessary as an artist to grow, and then also seeing the continued growth through the help of your peers, which is so important.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. I do want to ask, I see you wearing a New York hat from Chicago, from Minnesota here now. Sports allegiances, where do they lie? Do they lie anywhere?
As far as baseball, no.
Okay.
No, I'm not into baseball like that. I don't watch baseball. I know I'm gonna upset some people. I'm sorry. In my community, we mostly wear baseball hats because they match our clothes.
Yeah, fair enough.
We wear baseball hats because they look good with our shoes. Like, I'm sorry. That's just what it is. But basketball, now it's kind of weird. Like, I used to have like my favorite team, but now I just really have teams that I root for.
Sure.
Right? Like,
Gotcha.
I root for, of course, the Bulls.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? DeMar DeRozan. You know what I'm saying? Shout out Zach LaVine. They killing right now.
Mm-hmm.
They got a play-in game too. They better win that. But shout out Timberwolves. I always root for the Timberwolves. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I used to root for Portland Trailblazers, but I don't know, man. Dame got to get out of Portland, man. I don't know what he thinking, bro. Get out of there.
Yeah.
But yeah, those are just some of the teams that I root for. But yeah, I watch basketball. I like football too. You know what I'm saying? Vikings, man, of course, man. Even though I'll save that for after the cameras go off.
Yeah.
We're in Minnesota. I don't want to upset nobody.
I don't think you would be.
Yeah.
I think we're all very self-aware of Minnesota sports
man.
teams not being good. But what I always thought, or I also thought was funny, was that you had mentioned that you, for a while there, kind of wanted to be from Detroit, whether it was like Jay Dilla or whatever it might have been.
Y'all, this is like Nardwuar or something. Like, yeah, I did, man. I love Detroit, man. Like, Jay Dilla is like, bro.
Yeah.
I wish I had the opportunity to be able to work with that man. Like, and I don't think, like, I think people a lot of times people jump on stuff because it's like, in that space, it's such a huge thing. Like, it's like, oh, Jay Dilla, like, yeah, like, but if you really go back and study how this man made beats, it's really like some like mathematical equation type stuff. It's really dope, man.
Yeah.
And I just love like Detroit culture, man. I love like, you know what I'm saying, just how they rap. I love the slang. I love the style. You know what I'm saying, the buffs, the glasses,
right.
with like everything about Detroit. I love it, man, for sure.
Had to throw that in there. And then also just going back to, I'm going to try to tie it back to New York too. You met Spike Lee.
I met Spike.
How did that happen?
So we used to be, me and my wife ran an event space called The Square, right in the middle of George Floyd Square.
Right. That's where some of the gladiator events
Right.
Yeah.
Yep. And one day we were there just doing some work and we're leaving and we're about to pull out and my wife was like, that look like Spike Lee. And the whole time I was sitting there thinking like, who is that? And she was like, yeah, that's Spike. I'm like, you right, that is Spike. I was like, no, you got to turn this car around immediately.
Yeah.
Like, if you know me, you know like Spike Lee is one of my like favorite people on the planet. Like all his movies, like Do the Right Thing, Mo Better Blues, I'm super fan, right? So, we turn the car around, I get out, and Spike is just kind of walking down. He's kind of just looking at everything, right? Because, it's George Floyd Square, man. So kind of bring certain people over there. But, I hopped out. I said, yo, what's up, man? And shook his hand and told him, how much a fan of him I was. And then he looked at my hat, right? This goes back to the baseball thing, right? He's like, oh, you a Detroit Lions fan? I said, what are you talking about? He's like, your hat. And I took my hat off and I'm like, oh, no. It just matches my shirt, right? So he was like, oh, you one of them type. So we had a nice little exchange, man. And Spike was real cool. And yeah, I got a picture, man. I'm gonna get that printed and I'm gonna blow it up.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Have to. That's
for
really
sure.
Cool. Very cool moment. Well,
Yeah.
I just appreciate you so much for being here today, performing some songs, sitting down to
Thank
talk. Is there anything on your radar or anything I missed that you kind of want to?
I mean, man, we hit a lot of things, man. I just really appreciate you guys having me. This is dope, man. I love this platform. First time I seen it, I was like, I gotta get there. I gotta be there, man. This is amazing. You know what I'm saying? Shameless plug, Gladiator School,
Yeah.
May 12th,
Yeah.
coming up. Some of the dopest MCs. We got 10 of them. Please make sure you're there. It's going down at the Legacy Building. I don't know when this is going to come out, but if it comes out before May 12th, make sure y'all there. Gladiator School, man. It's going to be amazing. Yeah, that's it, man.
Yeah, and
That's
I
it.
saw that happening at the Legacy Building. That's very
Yeah.
exciting. We've had Envy and Fancy Illism here.
Love them.
What an amazing addition to the Twin Cities music community
For
as
sure.
well, and art community. Last thing, any words of wisdom that we want to end off today with?
Words of wisdom. Yo, man, enjoy what you do. You know, a lot of times as artists, you know, we get caught in the trap of trying to get the, you know, I said this before, the numbers, the views, the comments, the likes, all of the social media stuff. And that's one side of it, and that's great. But just enjoy what you do. Enjoy the music that you make. You know what I'm saying? Have fun. You know what I'm saying? Learn different other, you know, styles of music. Just really just dive into your artistry. You know what I'm saying? Like really, really give it a chance and see how much you'll grow from doing that. It's a beautiful thing. I've done it. Everybody that I know has done it, who I work with, and you know you can see it on them, man. It's like a glow. So if you want that glow, man, you know what I'm saying. You know what to do.
Righteous MC continuing to glow. Thank you so much for being here today.
MC to go, MC to go, MC to go.
Sweet.
Yeah.